I'm the Commissar. We're watching Forged Alliance forever, and you never know, you might even be playing this game. In fact, you is playing this game, that's the joke, haha. But, luckily, neither you nor you are here for comedy, you are here for faff. So, without further ado, let's get started. Setons. Many of my viewers will be familiar with it, though I will go over it in a minute for those who aren't. We have the North team and we have the South team. In the beach position for North team, and opening first air, which is quite interesting, this is Taiyo. He's 983 rated and Seraphim in red. In the air position, this is PMBMizer, who is 1297 rated and Cybran in mauve. In the rock position, and also opening first air, which is much more common here thanks to that lovely heap of easy access street claim and the need to drop the side island, this is Storm, who is 1772 rated in UEF in dark green. And here at the front, this is Killer Zone, 1278 rated and UEF in grey. The beach position for the South team is occupied by you, the game's highest rated player at 2004, who's Cybran and blue. I'm not going to go through the whole I'm talking to you, no and so on, who's on first routine, but we can pretend that I did if it makes you feel better. In the air position, and also opening first air, which is actually quite uncommon in the air position due to the need to get out lots of engineers early for low power cost, this is Cinsiggy, who is UEF and 1067 rated in lime green. In the air slot, this is Quimma, who actually recently started in my training group not long ago, but I'd already added this to my cast queue before that happened, so lucky coincidence there. Quimma is 1012 rated and Aeon, and he's in cyan. And last but not least, up here and going forward, as you'd expect from the forward player, is Bourne, 1272 rated and Aeon in white. Now, you is coming towards the middle, as you'd expect from the recent meta, whereas Taiyo is not. We'll see if this makes a difference. In the middle is, for those who don't know the map very well, is a big heap of reclaim. These loyalist wrecks are actually the most efficient to grab. The Salem less so, though. You would think that they would be better because they have more mass in them, but due to the positioning, the loyalist wrecks are more efficient to grab. But look at this. Killzone is going to get there first, and that's going to make a big difference to who picks up the more reclaim. Other interesting features of the map, rock player is generally expected to be their best on eco, especially because they're supposed to drop out here to this side island. Beach player has the hardest task, which is just hold back the rock player for as long as possible while your rock player crushes the other side. And the mid players have to grab a lot of reclaim and then hold the line so that the other team can't get through on land. That's the map. Now, Quimma is first out with a drop. And he is carrying 5 NGs to land on the side island. Storm is a little behind, and he's only got 3 engines on board his drop, but he's being a bit greedier in his main base. And so he's got slightly better eco than Quimma on the ground there. But Quimma's getting these 5 engines straight to building a factory, which is the right choice, and Storm hasn't even landed yet. However, this could make a difference. Taiyo has a transport coming out to contest the Aeon. This is a big risk because it's a long journey to give which will give Quimma time to set up, and it will mean that he is it's a lot of resource to spend this early in the game to get that drop out for Taiyo. But if he can make it pay off, that'll be a big win. Meanwhile, the fight has started in the middle. How's the early reclaim stakes looking? Well, North team actually ahead in it. Killzone has picked up a bit more, so that's nice work. But we got to check down here where Taiyo's drop has landed. And I don't think Quimma's noticed it because these guys are just on their queue. I don't like this. 5 engineers all trying to do the same thing at once. They should have split up. They've been shift G'd for that. And he hasn't noticed because these engineers are idle. I think this point defense is going to go up. There's no combat units killed in the factory here. Well, now he's noticed and he's going in for the reclaim, I think. Yes, he is. Will he get the reclaim off? 1 is down, but this is going to go up. 2 down. The turret goes up. 3 down, but there's still an NG here, and the turret is up. And that turret is going to shoot, and Quimma's going to have a problem. He's trying to get combat units out, but the turret is just going to shoot them. And look at this. It's beautiful work from this turret. It is going to absolutely smack this factory. These engineers are coming in, but for what? What are they going to do? And it looks like Quimma doesn't know either. And the factory is down. These guys should have stayed up here and built a factory to immediately start putting out combat units. But now, I think it's going to be Taiyo who manages to start the factory first. And Quimma's only got 3 engineers left, so that was great from Taiyo. He might even get control of this island. We'll check back on it in a minute. Up here, Quimma's got a bomber patrolling Taiyo's expansion, which is going to be nice if it spots these engineers which are on the way, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. Yu has done his job in holding the mid and is going back into the water, and the middle players are fortifying up. Has he seen the bomber? Has the bomber seen these NGs rather? I don't know if it has. Well, that scout will certainly see, and it's seen the NGs. If Quimma can deny this expansion, this would be fantastic work, and Taiyo will be slowed down quite a bit. Where's the bomber? Going for a long slow turn, but I think to be able to get this NG no problems. Yes, it will. That will slow Taiyo up, but down here, Taiyo's factory is almost up, and Quimma hasn't started on a factory of his own. He's put up a point defense. That was the wrong choice, but he should have put up a factory and started pumping out a mix of arty to take this out and tanks to counter any arty that Taiyo puts out. But Taiyo's factory is up first. And he's going for anti-air to start with. And a good choice, because in comes a bomber which immediately picks off the sole surviving engineer on the island, but the anti-air is out and shooting at the bomber. Well, now it's shooting at a fighter. The bomber is the target it should be prioritizing. But a second anti-air is out. This is where Quimma really needs to put up a factory, while Taiyo is concentrating on the anti-air, but no such luck if you're supporting Quimma's team, because the bombers are going down, and now there's engineers coming out to add to the reclaim and reconstruction for Taiyo. Now Quimma puts up a factory. Meanwhile, this bomber is still messing around, but it gets shot down before it can take the next round of NGs that come out to hit this expansion. And now there's artillery coming out for Taiyo. Will it shut down Quimma's factory, which has just been completed and it is being assisted? It's being assisted to produce artillery. I can see why he's doing that, but he really needs to get out some tanks, and he's had to pause it. Is Quimma having energy trouble? Yes, he is. Look at that. Quimma can't afford to run the factory, and that could be crucial here for this fight. Meanwhile, Taiyo's got a submarine here, which is attacking the naval yard for Quimma. It can't shoot these engineers because these are hovering engineers, and this submarine only has torpedoes. This submarine needs to surface and use its deck gun, because it's got, at the moment, no answer to this, which Quimma is simply reclaiming it with. So, good work from Quimma there. There's another sub here, but it's far too far away to do anything. Taiyo needs to surface that sub. He's now got multiple arties just locking down this factory. The energies are dead. Taiyo's going to win this island. He's just going to kill that. And he's not applying enough pressure here, and he's not noticed that the sub could just move. But the NG is reclaiming it. Lines in the middle going up as normal, not much else happening, so back to this sub. And I think the NG is actually going to reclaim the sub. A sub comes out for Quimma, but this NG did the work. This NG reclaimed the submarine wreck. And while Taiyo does have more submarines out here, they were a bit too little, a bit too late. Now Mizer has a pair of Corsairs coming in here. Normally, the air player goes straight to T3 on Setons, but I think what Mizer's planning, because we have got a T3 factory here but no T3 power yet, I think what Mizer's planning is to take out the T2 power for cinsiggy and therefore slow down his arrival at T3. Will it pay off wherever those Corsairs? In they come. They haven't even seen Quimma sending an Inti to stop them. And so we can see on the minimap is you. Oh, so close, 100 hit points left. He just needed one more Corsair. And that's a lot of Intis from you. Will the Corsairs be able to do it? They'll get this one for sure, but there will still be a P-Gen up for cinsiggy, and he'll be able to build his T3 P-Gen if that survives, and it does. And how's cinsiggy's power? Well, it's fine. So that was a gamble by Mizer, and I don't think it paid off. If we look here at Mizer, he has actually got his first T3 NG out, and he's building his T3 Aeon reactor, so it didn't slow him up too much. Good work from Mizer there. But now we've got multiple shenanigans going on. I'm going to put a little flare on the minimap so you can see where each side is, but here we've got a edge-built naval factory from Taiyo, but Quimma has sent his subs. Will that be enough to take it out? And he has got a lot of subs coming in. I would be using frigates in this situation after just one or two subs to defend from these. But in he comes. There is an attempt to use bomber pressure from cinsiggy, but there's anti-air here, which is going to defend. And I think, quite a lot more bombers coming in, but there's a lot of anti-air, and I don't think it's going to do the work. I think that Taiyo is going to hold here. Meanwhile, on the middle causeway, Bourne is going in against Killzone, and he's got a decent amount of T1 spam here. A lot of this is artillery, and I'm not sure I absolutely like that choice. Some should be, but not all of it. However, Killzone is actually bringing in quite a lot more spam from the back, and all of this is, or most of this is tanks, which is pretty good at countering mobile arty, and so I do not think that this is going to be a happy ending for Bourne. And what looked like it was going to be quite a successful push is quickly dying because it's all arty and this is all tanks. Sure, Killzone loses a mix or two, but he can quickly rebuild those, and Bourne's lost a big army there. Now, a moment ago, I said I thought Taiyo was going to hold, but now I am not so sure because all these are underwater, and so any land-based defenses aren't going to hit them, and these subs can just come up and torp this naval yard. And there are more and more coming in from Quimma all the time. I take it back. I guess that's going down. So, good work from Quimma, but he still needs to get this island back. In the middle, that raid from Bourne is being countered by a push from Killzone, but Killzone is going to have an unpleasant surprise when he runs into this T2 point defense that Bourne is just finishing. In fact, he doesn't even need to do that. Killzone thinks there's too much for him to handle with just this T1, and with Bourne's comm there is. Killzone is going to fall back. Now, how are we doing on naval tech? U is 60% of the way to T2. And the Storm's already at T2 and getting his first combat unit out. Taiyo 90% of the way to T2, and Quimma down here, so very close to T2 is 90% as well. So very close to T2 Navy at the same time for all four of the players expected to go Navy at this stage. So could be some very even fights. This is a nice list of massive subs from Quimma, but Taiyo doesn't really actually have that much naval production, but Killzone has come into the water. You generally expect the mid players to support whichever side they feel need more support in the Navy once mid has settled down, as it currently has. So we've got Killzone producing Navy here to help Taiyo. Meanwhile, North team a little bit ahead in eco at this moment. Quimma's Navy is trying to do work against the island, but not much is happening right now. However, Quimma's got his first Destro on the way, and that will probably help out. We'll check back on it in a moment. Storm massing Destro's here, and you expect everybody to go for Destro's first. Absolutely they are. Here's Yu's one coming out now. You about to Destro? What? Who, me? Okay, I promised I wouldn't do that. I honestly do not like the positioning here of cinsiggy's air grid. The HQ over here with no T3 power next to it. This, and you can't really expand this air grid here without it hitting something. Normally I'd expect to see the air grid expanding like up here, above the on this flat area above the main group of mexes, rather than where it's going to be interrupted by all the mexes and hydros down here. In fact, just like this is what I'd expect to see. This is a much better positioned air grid, in my opinion. Quimma's navy building up here, but there's the first Destro. Is he going to be able to use it to take back the island? Taiyo knows that something like this is coming. He's putting up a shield to defend the island. The two-point defense would be good against frigates and so on, but it won't stop a Destro. He'll need, if you want a land-based defense against destroyers and arguably battleships, you want T2 RT, and that destroyer is already firing on it, taking out a mechs. But the shield goes up in the nick of time for Taiyo, and I think that more than one destroyer will be needed for Quimma to break his way in. And Storm is dropping engines into the water to presumably to put up a line. Or yeah, he's going for big frigate production here. Nice to see early shield boats in the mix. They are a great asset to the UEF Navy, just as U is going for stealth, so everybody making good use of their unique units. The Cyber Stealth boat and the UEF shield boat. A second destroyer out from Quimma, and he is also bringing it straight into the fight, and Taiyo doesn't have really enough to stop it right now. He's built a second shield, and he's assisting this shield hard, so I don't think even the two destroyers will be able to break their way in. This is an HQ, this is a land HQ. I don't like that. Surely he has one at home. Okay, no, he doesn't. Taiyo is going purely Navy at home. He doesn't have a single land unit being built in his home base, and I find that quite surprising, but it's what he's chosen to do, and so he's put his land HQ up here. Is he planning to drop with T2 land units into... Here would be a good place to drop. Those are Mercies. Aeon guided missiles. Now, they've been nerfed so they're no longer good for snipes, but they're good against large groups of units, so we'll see how Quimma uses them. And this shield is down, but Taiyo has put up yet another shield to defend his island, and the Mercies are coming. Gunships coming in for Quimma, though I don't think they'll last long against the anti-air, but the Mercies also come in, and they're going to do some damage to the shield. But I think that Taiyo is having power problems. Yes, he is. Look at that, and that couldn't have come at a worse time for him, because now the destroyers are smashing through the shields. 2 shields down. Out come a bunch of bombers, which is nice, as Aeon boats, unless you have the... Oh, I was going to say Aeon boats don't have anti-air unless you have actual specific anti-air boats, but there is an actual specific anti-air boat. There's an Aeon cruiser right there. And this is now being reclaimed, this shield, as Taiyo thinks that he's going to just give it up for lost and get what he can out of this before he loses it. So, excellent work for Quimma, who will probably be able to take out this T2 HQ for free, and I think they got Control K'd just so Taiyo can reclaim it. Meanwhile, what have we got going on in the middle? Just lines of units forming up there, nothing, and a bit of fortification here on each side, nothing really unexpected. Navy's building up slowly for... That's a lot of frigates for you, to be honest. He has got 3 Destros in there and a cruiser, whereas Storm has 4 Destros, but this is a lot of frigates from you, and But even though Storm has the better eco and North Timor 150 ahead, so what's Storm doing with his eco? He needs a better navy before this lot comes pushing in on him. Yu is on the way to T3 Navy, as is Storm, so that's partly what he's doing with his eco. T3 Navy will be big here. I would probably have gone for a little more T2 Navy first, though they're both vastly higher rated than me, and so they know far better what they're doing than I am. And Quimma has re-dropped his island with a big bunch of engineers, supported by gunships from cinsiggy, and immediately he's going for a land factory. And there's nothing here that Taiyo can really do in time to stop the recolonization of Quimma's island. He did hold on to this for a good amount of time, but that was a mistake. He should have just left it there, unless he's sort of actively being captured, because he should have made Quimma actually, do the work. Quimma's put an air factory here down. I was expecting a land factory to start with, just in case, but he's put an air factory down. And his navy is growing. How's Taiyo doing in navy? Well, Taiyo has a couple of destroyers and a cruiser in there, and actually this could make the difference. Multiple destroyers out from kill zone. And despite the swarm of T1 spam, there's a lot more tech from Killzone and Taiyo combined. And this could really make the difference, Killzone's contribution in a naval fight over here. And first battleship now half built for you. It feels like he's assisting it a lot more. Yeah, look, Storm is assisting a lot less to him, and he hasn't even finished the naval HQ. On the other hand, for early T3 and against T2, Neptunes are like the best unit there is. Neptunes do get defeated by equal mass in summits, but only when there's enough summits. I say summits, meaning battleships in general. I think galaxies will also do the same. So Neptunes are good while there aren't many battleships out on the field, but the more battleships there are, the more you want to switch as UEF into battleships rather than building Neptunes. However, starting off with a Neptune, and you can see you're starting off with a Neptune and then going into heaps and heaps of battleships, which I think is a good bet. If he can make it work against this heap of frigates, which is what Neptunes do particularly well against, before Yu is able to bring these battleships into play. But Yu already has a battleship out and another half built, so Yu is really assisting his naval production very hard here. And we're now in that phase of mid-game Setons where we're just waiting for something to happen. So we've had all the excitement on the side island, we've had the fight over the middle, and now it's the build up a T2 or T3 navy phase and go in for the fight. And so I'm just waffling for a little bit, and you're going to hope that I pick this game because something exciting happens later. Of course, I promise you it does, but just for now, you, my loyal viewers, are going to have to trust me on that. And that Neptune is still under construction. There needs to be more assistance here. Oh, and this is why, though. Who needs T3 Navy when you have T4 Navy? This is an Atlantis being built by Storm, and it's nearly done. It is 85% done at this stage, and that Atlantis will be a really good contribution to the naval combat, especially as there isn't too much in the way of torpedo units coming out from Yu. He's got his focus. I mean, sure, galaxies do have torpedoes, but they're only like token torpedoes, and he doesn't have any. He's got. I'm not seeing. There's one destroyer there, 2 destroyers. Anyway, the point is there's not much torpedo units, and so this Atlantis, which Storm has just finished, the first one of the game, is definitely going to be a huge help to Storm in the naval fight that I am sure is to come. And up here we have a gunship raid, whalers, T3 gunships for the Cyberans, and these guys do have stealth, so as do these ASFs, so Quimma won't see them coming, so this raid could be a nasty surprise. However, these have now been literally just seen. How much damage are they going to be able to do? These are all capped T2 mexes, and some of them are upgrading to T3, I think. So this is a lot of damage that Mizer can get done if Quimma doesn't have a response. And he's sending his inties, but a lot of his inties are out of fuel, and this is just a bunch of ASFs. Inties aren't going to stop this heap of broadswords. And down here we can see that cinsiggy has his ASFs on hand, but he doesn't think he's ready to take the air fight. And those broadswords are just going to get... broadswords? Other T3 gunship whalers, that's the word. They're just going to get out there, having done pretty hefty damage to Quimma's eco. So that's pretty nice. cinsiggy is not going to take the fight. I think we've got to watch another split though, because over here on the right, as more of Mizer's gunships come in, the North Team navies are really bombarding Bourne. Bourne's land army is forced to retreat into the water, and the navy and the gunships are going to be free to attack Bourne's front line here. And they're just moving in, and look at those Seraphim missile cruisers hitting these anti-air units to defend Mizer's gunships. However, there is a lot of point defense here, and these units do have to be careful not to get too close. Look, he just lost the torpedo boat completely for free there. But he's driven away the army and he's breaking through the shields. Meanwhile, back to the island. We said cinsiggy wasn't going to take the air fight, but it looks like he's having second thoughts. Look at this. He comes in. He shreds the gunships. That's a good pickup, but I don't know if he's actually got enough to take the actual air fight, because here comes Mizer back in. And cinsiggy's backing away. Bit of a no-score draw though Mizer did lose the gunship, so could be a win for cinsiggy, we'll have to see. But back to the middle, where Quimma has brought his navy in, and he's actually got UEF tech in there. We can see he's been given UEF tech by cinsiggy. So he's got shields supporting his Aeon navy, and he's got the numbers, but all of these numbers are frigates and subs. Whereas there's now a Neptune on the field here, tech free from Killzone. So this is spam versus tech at its very best, as the North Team's higher tech engages Quimma's raw numbers. I mean, he does have tech, he's got Destrokes, he's got that UEF shield, but it looks like he is going to be forced back a bit by the navy from North Team. And North Team is going to try and press their advantage. Quimma's forming a defensive line though, he's not giving up that easily. But on the right, the navies of Yu and Storm finally engage, and here it's the other way around. Here it's Storm for the North Team who has all the spam, and it's Yu who has multiple battleships. The battleships are well concealed by stealth though. What can Storm see? Well, he's obviously got some sort of omni coverage, because he can see what's going on there, but he doesn't know that quite how many of these are actual battleships, and Storm is falling back a bit. But he does have a battleship of his own, and where's that Neptune? I presume it's around here somewhere. Either way, Yu and Storm are getting stuck in. Back to Quimma's navy as he defends against Killzone and Taiyo. And he's bringing in torpedo bombers. A little bit of cruiser fire in here, though that might be a problem for those torps. Don't forget that if these sub-hunters surface, they have very good anti-air as well. And now we have this Omen coming in from Bourne. So Bourne set up Navy as well on this side. And Yu is bringing his own spam to join the fight. So now it's just going to be a huge mass of boats on either side, if they survive. Gunships coming in from Cinsiggy here, that's a nice touch, and he's bringing in air support to help out Quimma. And North team have actually fallen back a bit here, as Quimma gets his first battleship into the fray. Though remember, we do already have these 2 Neptunes for Killzone, and Killzone is dropping NGs in to get the reclaim here, which is a nice touch. I like it. Storm is not discouraged by the spam arriving from you or by this huge number of battleships. Storm is pushing in. Now we're just exchanging long-range cruiser fire from this UEF missile cruiser that Quimma's built, and the multiple Serra missile cruisers owned by Taiyo. Are they going to re-engage? It looks like they are. North team moving in. It feels like Yu has the slight upper hand. Storm did finish that Atlantis, but where is it? Wherever it is, it's not here. It's pretty hard out of position. And Yu is forming this lovely line of battleships with which to fight off the advancing forces of Storm as his frigates come swarming in to block the incoming shots and generally make life more difficult for Storm's targeting. And now Yu is swarming forward. North team dives back in, and Quimma, is he going to be forced back? I have a feeling he might with this much Tech 2 firepower on the field. And the battleship is a nice touch, but it might not be enough of a nice touch, as there are 3 Neptunes here from Killzone. Storm is actually finishing another Atlantis up here, and his first one is moving into position, so that might swing the tide a little bit. And this bombardment is relentless, especially if dodges like that mean that the Omen battleship fire is wasted. Omens have that was a nice hit, but Omens do have the slowest travelling shots of any of the battleships, and so they are the easiest to dodge. Same with Aeon destroyers. And he's being pushed right back to his HQ. He is trying to build a Tempest here, but that's only half done. And I don't know if that's going to be finished in time to affect this fight. Because that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 battleships from Yu and 2 from Bourne pushing in against just 3 battleships and a Neptune for Storm, but the 2 Atlantis are going to make a difference. However, Yu brings in torpedo bombers to hit the Atlantis. Oh, take that back, that's 2 Neptunes there for Storm, and the Atlantis are swarming in. And I think Quimma's line is beginning to crumble. His temper's still in the yellow. Good air support here from Mizer. But the battleship for Quimma is down, and the HQ is under fire. There's a couple of gunships for Cinsiggy trying to help out, but these cruisers will mean that they have a hard time. But if the HQ goes down, then Quimma is in massive amounts of trouble. Can an Atlantis really swarm? Well, if they can, there's 2 of them here, and I suppose that's a reasonable swarm when you're as big as an Atlantis is. Yu has lost a lot of his frigate swarm, but so has Storm. However, Mizer is bringing in a bunch of torpedo bombers, and last time we saw he had the air control. However, these cruisers and this carrier from Yu are going to make short work of them, and Yu is even finding time to get a few shots off bombarding Killzone's actual base there. I think he really needs to worry about taking out the Navy first, though. And I think the HQ is going down, my loyal viewers. Boom, down it goes. And the Tempest, well, it was close to completion, but it's a lot less close to completion as multiple Neptune battle cruisers open up on it, and I do not think that this experimental is going to finish for poor Quimma. More torp bombers coming in from Mizer. And the Atlantis are getting work done. Nearly 4,000 mass killed on each, battleships going down for you, and the shields are also, there are a lot of shield boats in here for Storm, and they are really doing sterling work protecting the Neptunes and the summits from the battleship fire of you. And suddenly you does not have as many battleships left as he did, though he is bringing in more down here all the time. Quimma has T3 air out, and he's got Solace T3 torpedo bombers trying to help out, and Cinsiggy has brought these T3 broadsword gunships in as well, which is also going to help because none of the anti-air units are down here. But Quimma's lost his Tempest Experimental, he's lost his HQ, his actual starting mexes, which were T3, are under fire from the naval bombardment, and Quimma is losing quite a lot to this naval assault. These mexes and this raid are also under threat. The mexes are going to be a lovely pickup because these are T3 mexes, and Quimma cannot afford to lose this eco. Torpedo bombers from Cinsiggy are doing everything they can, but the pond on the north side is now absolutely comprehensively in the hands of North Team, and the cruiser missile bombardment is going to be a real pain. And in comes you with a few torpedo bombers, and they are going to help. One of the Atlantis is down, and Cinsiggy's fighters are patrolling to attempt to stop an air response from Mizer. But the Atlantis are still, the one remaining Atlantis is still pootling around underneath Yu's navy. He's going for it with torpedo bombers again. Where's the air response from Mizer? Mizer's got more air, he can just take this. Well, there we go, Cinsiggy's out of position, and Mizer just comes in and hoovers up those torpedo bombers. Because of their direct fire beams, Neptunes are not very good for shore bombardment, but I mean, he's trying it anyway. The cruisers are a better choice here from Taiyo for trying this phase of the attack, and there's a shield. A shield is up for Quimma, but is it really going to be able to... It doesn't stay up for very long. No, look at that, these shields are going down. The shields are not holding for Quimma, and he's also standing next to a T3P gen, which could be a bit of a problem if it explodes. And Mizer takes the air fight over Yu's navy. Sure, these carriers will make it more difficult for him. That's multiple carriers there, and they will kill a lot of Mizer's ASFs. But he doesn't care. He has just shredded Cinsiggy's air, and that is going to make a big difference. Over here, Bourne's base is now under threat from the missile bombardment, including Bourne's quantum gateway, which could be a nasty loss if he's investing in rather... Oh yes, that was an unfortunate loss for Bourne. With air control firmly in Mizer's grasp, a huge wave of torpedo bombers come zooming in towards the battleships of you. I keep wanting to say your battleships, but that would A, stop being funny fast, and B, be very confusing. So I'm not going to. And look at that, one battleship just taken out by that torpedo bomber wave, and they're still on the field and doing damage. Back to Quimma, and Corsairs come in from Mizer trying to snipe the comm himself. And what's Quimma got left that he can actually defend against this bombardment from? His air HQ is under attack. He's putting up anti-air, he's putting up flak to try and stop the Corsairs, but what's that going to do against this vast tactical missile bombardment? And he loses his air HQ. Quimma is absolutely crumbling here as the Corsairs from Mizer come in for their next wave. Quimma throws up a shield in the nick of time to protect his comm, But how long is that shield going to last? Bourne has brought in a Tempest to support you. And that's going to be great. That will be a match for the Atlantis. But he's only got one of them so far. And these carriers, while good against the air units, don't have much direct fire support. Bourne also does have these 3 battleships in the area though. And in fact, there's just been so many naval casualties on all sides, another Atlantis in from Storm, that I'm not really sure who has the advantage here. Well, I asked how long that shield was going to last, and the answer is that long. It's dead already. And Aeon tactical missile defense might be the best tactical missile defense there is, but there's just not enough of it to stop this level of cruiser fire. And are they just going for a comm snipe here? It looks like they're going for a comm snipe with the cruiser fire. The shield goes back up for Quimma, and again the shield is the target. And these torp bombers are really doing hard work. The carriers are the first targets, as you'd expect, because Mizer cannot afford to lose all his air to this big group of carriers. And down goes one of them, but there's still 2 more in the area. And every time it feels like Quimma's got enough defense to take out this, to stop his relentless brutalization at the hands of the cruiser fire, the cruisers break through and do some more damage. And we mustn't forget this Novax, because that Novax from cinsiggy is in Killzone's base, which is unshielded. He's trying to get a shield up, but there might not be time before that Novax fires again. Floating around like that, making me zoom out a bit, very unpleasant. But it's coming back in for the shot. Is it going for the shield? It is, and then it goes on towards the SMD. That's going to be nice if they pick up the SMD, because that's a big investment. And it was loaded twice. So now they have to really worry about nukes, and they have to invest it all again. So good work from cinsiggy's Novax. And the cruiser missiles are hitting the comm. Is this going to be another snipe attempt? The coursers are probably better for the snipe attempt. But the tactical missile defense is being damaged. And there is not much left in the Navy for South Team. The Tempest is huge, but there are 2 Atlantis here. And there are a lot more battleships for Storm than there are for South Team. Especially, look at that. 2 of Bourne's battleships are taken down by the bombardment. Can he build it in time? We mentioned that Aeon... Oh, apparently he can't. We mentioned Aeon tactical missile defense is the best, but it's not that good. This is looking bad for you. You has a big crowd of torpedo bombers, and he's going to send them in, trying to stop the Atlantis. But this might be quite the sacrifice, because Mizer does have air control, and we know his ASFs are in the area. In they come, and at least one of those Atlantis... Oh, they're targeting the less... Actually, they're targeting both Atlantis. And this one looks like it is going to go down, but Mizer brings in his ASFs, and used torpedo bombers are not going to last very long. One Atlantis is down though. As the next volley makes it through, and it's actually hitting the comm now. It's hitting the comm. Quimma is deep into the red with only 600 hit points. He runs away, but boom! Quimma is hit by a tactical missile and sniped out by a cruiser barrage from Taiyo. Quimma is our first ejection at 34 minutes into the game. What a marvellous attack. And Yu inherits the base. And this fight is absolutely relentless, as with more units coming in all the time, Yu pushes back in, but the force from Storm is growing bigger and bigger. Big broadsword wave from cinsiggy coming in to defend what's left of Quimma's old base. But this is a lot of cruisers, and I don't think even this many broadswords are going to be enough. I think this is just going to be a mass gift for these little cheeky engineers from Killzone, who are just sitting here reclaiming everything. And though the broadswords are correctly targeting the cruisers, there's not enough. The broadswords are going down. Experimentals are being taken out on both sides. Look at the amount of bombardment this Tempest is facing. I don't think it's going to survive much longer. And down it goes. Look at these experimental wrecks everywhere. How much reclaim is there here? There is tens of thousands here as another Tempest comes in from Bourne. Wow. After that relentless naval fight, it's almost a pleasure to get back to single screen, and here we have the Novak satellite from Cinsiggy going for Killzone's power, which I think is the right target. If he can pop that, it will cause... Killzone's put up a new SMD, but of course it's not loaded yet, and he has lost a mech as well, but this power will be a nice pickup, and down it goes. No let-up from either side in the naval fight. Storms advance slow and steady, but the line of battleships from you is very nice. And Yu's torp bombers are back in force. We'll check on that nuke in a moment. Yu's torpedo bombers are back in force, and Mizer's ASFs are over here and not in position to help out. Those torpedo bombers have got a lot of work done before Mizer finally comes and cleans them up. Cinsiggy's Novak's now going for Storm's Eco, and these are unshielded, and they're double cap T. Ouch! Ouch! Look at that! That is a lot of Eco lost for Storm in just one shot. The full capping and the full mass fab ringing as well, and on top of that, the Novaks can just keep on shooting the Mexes, and it looks like the nuke got stopped because Cinsiggy has loaded SMD, but I think it might have been, and Bourne has loaded SMD, so that's what stopped it. Okay, so what have we got? I love the line of battleships. Look at that, they're lined up in a lovely curve, those battleships from you, for just engaging these at the perfect range. The Tempest is a little bit forward and it's taking quite a lot of fire, but still, it's doing the work, and its torpedoes also getting hits in. Taiyo dropping an engineer here. Is he going to try and go for a proxy in the base that used to belong to Quimma? That would be quite good. He could spam some units in there while Yu's focusing his attention on the naval battle. And immediately a factory is queued up. Storm's Navy, under insane amounts of UEF shielding here, is advancing, and that's pretty good. The Tempest we saw earlier is down, but there's another one coming in, ready to take its place. And Yu's battleship bombardment is relentless. The Neptunes are a nice little addition, but battleships beat Neptunes one-on-one. Neptunes are best against lower tech units like destroyers or frigates. Yu is gathering nuke subs down here. I just saw them on the minimap. One there, and that could be an interesting little play if he's able to get work done from them. And I see here a third Novax from Cinsiggy passing overhead to join the tour over here. Will we have as many as towers had last week though, which was something like 60? That would be a sight to behold. And Storm just keeps pushing you back. Aha, but we better watch these two things. Taiyo has dropped a lot more engineers in here, and they're putting up SAMs because they've seen these broadswords coming, but this is a lot more broadswords from Cinsiggy. They block the shield, and they're not going for the SAMs, they're going straight for the engineers, and I think that's the right choice. More SAMs being desperately thrown up by this crowd of T3 engineers. But they're just being picked off. Down they go.
And over here at the front of South Team's base, we got a big Corsair snipe coming in. Is it going for the SMD? No, it's not. Where's it going? Sure, the broadswords are dead, but this is now only Sam's in an incomplete factory, and Taoist will have to drop again if he wants to make use of this proxy, so good work from cinsiggy. I think it's going for Yu's SMD. It's going for Yu's SMD, and it takes it out. This could be huge if Mizer is able to get in a shot. Maybe here on the HQ, maybe here on the Tempests. Could be big. Now, these Nova Seas are still causing trouble for Storm. You can see how much he's lost here, here, here. Still rebuilding here. And that is quite a lot of eco that he's got to recover. But, and they're also down here now, killing these, but this will be the real target, the naval HQ. If those Nova Seas can just come over here and shoot down the naval HQ, then that will make it so much easier for you to come in and smash it with his navy. And we've got another Corsair raid massing up here for Mizer, as Taiyo is indeed going to drop again. You can see those transports, 2 transports full of NGs now coming in. But this Corsair raid, where's it going to go? Oh, and look how much Bourne's base is taking the damage. The SMD that we mentioned earlier has gone down. His main group has gone down. And this battleship bombardment is just... battleship and cruiser, I guess, is relentless. His group of Razor-CUs here, which is... this is his eco now, is desperately throwing up tactical missile defense, but is it going to be enough? In comes the next Corsair wave. What's it going for? But look, it's just being torn apart by the SAMs and by cinsiggy's ASFs before it kills anything. These Corsair raids feel a bit wasted, to be honest. Meanwhile, Storm's navy swarms in with frigates getting in among Yu's battleships to just generally disrupt their targeting and get in the way of lines of fire, while Storm's heavily shielded navy is pushing in behind them. Multiple Tempests in from Bourne. Are they going to be enough to support Yu's navy? Taiyo is setting up his proxy again. And did I just see... yes, look, there's a monkey. Mizer is building monkeys in the water here, but he's even put up a T3 naval yard and upgrade, which it's his only naval yard, so it's his HQ, which he's using purely to produce NGs to build these monkey lords. And this monkey is now coming forward here, presumably with the intention of threatening what used to be Quimma's base. And Yu is being forced to fall back. Look at this. He's got this huge line of battleships, but it's nearly back at his production, and here's Bourne's production as well. Right here, building the Tempests. And the monkey is advancing. It's coming straight for the eco here in the base that Yu inherited from Quimma.
Strategic launch detected.
And we have a nuke. But the nuke is from one of Yu's subs. Where is it going? Well, it's going as a defensive nuke against the Navy, and I love that. I am always here for defensive nukes killing large swathes of army, and this one is going to be no exception, I think. And we have another defensive nuke against, in a slightly different position against the Navy. Let's see where it lands. That one wasn't, that was Mizer. Boom, there's the first nuke, but we don't see the full explosion because it is caught on a shield. However, it's still doing the damage. And where's the second nuke? Come on, we're here for it. It's landing somewhere around here, I'm sure of it. There we go. Look at that. Look at that nuclear destruction. Mizer's nuke over here. We'll watch it in a moment. These two subs, look at that. They got like 50,000 damage between them, which is pretty nice. And a huge, huge Corsair wave once again coming in from Mizer. Is it going to get work done this time? Where's it headed? I'm not honestly sure. Is it trying to target the comm? Is it going for a comm snipe? The nuke is going here, and I pretty much hate that, but there's the monkey. We'll have to check on the monkey. The Corsair's swerve. They think they're going for this Novax. A lot of them are being taken out by the SAMs, but that is massive overkill on the Novax, and the Novax goes down. The Corsairs turn and they try and take out another Novax, but not all of them can engage, and the rest are taken apart by the anti-air. So that, I think, was, again, not a good Corsair raid that we're seeing there. It does, however, feel like South Team are beginning to crumble. How's the naval fight going? Well, look how far Yu has been driven back. 3 Tempests out for Bourne now, and Yu's still got his vast line of battleships, so maybe Storm isn't getting as much traction as he'd hoped. But I'll tell you where the traction is. It's right here. It is this Monkey Lord. And the Monkey Lord is coming in on cinsiggy's base, and there was a lot of damage it could get done. cinsiggy's comm is right here. That's a possible target. The Novax is obviously his first hit though, and he's aiming straight for that as he comes walking into the base. And cinsiggy sent a couple of gunships there, but Mizer's whole air force is here. Mizer is having none of it, and his monkey is going to go to town. Novax down. Quantum Gateway about to go down. cinsiggy's comm just running forward. The SMD would be a nice target, given how much Mizer's been using his nuke, but he's choosing not to go for that. He's just going for all the Novaces. The power would also be a nice pickup, but he isn't targeting that either. Air HQ would be a nice pickup, but he isn't targeting that either. And the monkey just busts its way through. cinsiggy's comm is right here, but the SCUs are chasing after the monkey.
Strategic launch detected.
A nuke is aimed for the base, but he didn't kill the SMD, which is still him, which is still loaded, so that nuke isn't getting through, unless the monkey gets all the way back here and kills the SMD. And I think it might be trying to, but I also don't think it's going to make it. As the SCU goes down, but so does the monkey. Sure, it was on 5 vets, had I think 100,000 mass killed, but it has been stopped. cinsiggy's base is in ruins, sure, but the nuke, which we can see there, is also going to be stopped. Meanwhile, though, Mizer's next monkey is over here, and while Killzone Sats have taken out this forward air grid, Mizer's monkey is coming in, and it's heading towards Bourne's last bastion, this Quantum Gateway, and a little bit of PGen and Massfab work. And can Bourne stop it? This is enough SCUs, even though they are RAS SCUs, that he might have a chance to actually just turn and take out the monkey with their firepower if he shoots at it right now. But he's not choosing to do so. He's choosing to stay focused on production, which I do not think is the right call. See, if he just shot this monkey, it would have taken quite a bit of damage by now. And cinsiggy brings it in. Okay, now they turn and shoot the monkey, and see, look at that, it's a couple of rounds and it's already down to the yellow. If only they'd been doing this all the time, that monkey would be dead. But ifs and buts, as they say in wherever it is, they say a button no parsnips. But you have a monkey lord which he's bringing in, and by these powers combined, I think that's going to be enough to defend against Mizer's monkey. But poor old Bourne, he has a lot of rebuilding to do down here. And Yu's monkey is having difficulty getting a firing solution, but it finally does, although it's in the red, and takes out Mizer's monkey. Meanwhile, though, remember when the front line in the Navy was here? With the help of Bourne's Tempest, Yu has really pushed Storm back. Storm just didn't have enough to seal the metaphorical deal, and these Atlantis are going to be a problem for Yu, because, sure, Cyber and battleships have torps, but they're only token torps, and Atlantis are real torpedo machines, and there are 2 of them in here. And we can see Yu's battleships going down, but does he have enough in combination with the Tempest? And these torpedo bombers are just getting free damage on the Atlantis. One of them goes down. And in comes Mizer's next monkey. There is a Novax getting damage on it. The damaged monkey lord from Yu comes in to try and help. And it opens fire before the firing solution from this monkey can be trained on it. Both monkeys down into the red, but Yu's goes down first. Is Yu finally going to lose some eco? Shield down. Another shield down. But this monkey is destroyed before it breaks through the next shield. So a close call for Yu's eco. But he survives yet again. And it feels like Yu is really getting close to full control of the South Pond, which is something that his team really needs if they want to make any progress. And as his battleships take the main fight up here, his frigates are swarming into the frigate production from Storm, which is down here. And Mizer has brought in a Soul Ripper. Now, this Soul Ripper feels a little bit unsupported, to my mind. And where's it going to go? Where's it actually going to get the damage? Like, hitting that would have been good, because that would have been a chain reaction. Hitting this power would have been good, but there's a lot of SAMs around, and he's trying to be careful about it. But now that he's just flying over these SAMs without engaging them, there are a decent amount of SAMs here. This feels like, this unsupported Soul Ripper feels like it's just going to be a mass gift. Am I going to be right about that? And cinsiggy does still have some ASFs. He's still got his HQ here, though, heavily damaged. Oh, was that something like... Nope, that was just an SCU. Okay, cool. And yeah, that's just essentially a free mass gift to the South team with that Soul Ripper. Yu's frigates really swarming into Storm's production here. As the battleships are bombarding... Oh, what's that? Oh, Storm has a Billy on him. And the Billy is going to try and stop the frigates. Boom. A little damage done, but only like... Oh, okay, like 400 damage. That does not feel like a good use of a Billy. But... you remember Taiyo's proxy, I'm sure. If not, go back and look at it again. Remind yourself. Anyway, here comes his army from that proxy, a decent-sized T3 army, and there are a lot of point defenses here, and these Ravagers are being thrown up as we speak by these SCUs. But this is a big army, and it's being helped out by multiple Nova Seas from Killzone, so Taiyo could get some damage done if he's able to manage this well, and it looks like he is managing it well. Look at it. So Ravagers don't actually have any more DPS, really, than a Triad. They just have more range. And so when you get in that close, that is a nuke from you. We'll look at that in a minute. When they get in this close, and they've just blown their way through that bank of point defenses. Now Yu is really up all in the production of Storm here, and the Tempest bombardment from back here is hitting the HQ. This could be a big problem for Storm if he loses that. His own battleships and shield boats are forming a ring around it. He's got this artillery pounding its way down over here. But boom! The HQ dies to a temper shot, and now Storm can't produce any more high-tech units. This is a real setback for the North team in this pond. So, rapidly built Ravagers and Triads stopping these tanks, I think. But, what's this? Is this a chicken? Well, yes, but do they know about second chicken? Well, they know about it, but what can they do about it? 2 chickens in a full-scale chicken attack coming in from Taiyo. Meanwhile, that nuke launch we just heard, that was one of Yu's nukes, and it's going here. Look, it is aiming for this island, and I do not think there was any SMD there. Over here, we have torps being thrown up. That was Mizer. Don't know where that's going. We have torps being thrown up. We'll come back and check on those in a minute. Here's the nuke, and here is Stormside Island. Are we going to see a delicious nuclear impact? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Storm's island goes up in fire and flames. And I don't think Cinsiggy is going to be able to stop this chicken attack, not even with his banks of point defense. The Nova Seas are blasting their way through. The shields are not yet down, but now they are. I don't like that this chicken is stopping though. It should just keep walking while it shoots. And sure, I think he might be manually targeting them, and I also don't like that. This chicken deep into the red, but this one's still into the green as the advance continues. There is just nothing that Storm now can do to stop this. He's desperately throwing up line upon line of T1 torpedo defense in an effort to stop you getting into his back passage. Phrasing. And he's throwing up more and more arty and even Ravagers for the shorter range to try and stop the bombardment from the sea, but there is nothing that he can do. The battleships are aiming at this shield, and there's no assistance on the shield. As soon as the battleships actually focus down this bank of artillery, that bank of artillery is going to go down. But the Tempests are busy breaking their way in here. I didn't see where Miser's nuke got. It must have been shot down. One chicken goes down for Taiyo, but the second is still pushing. And this is getting the damage done that Miser couldn't before with the monkey. The power gens are down, the shields are down, the air HQ is down. And as the chicken continues its mighty charge forward, it looks to me like Cinsiggy is just going to be, for all intents and purposes, wiped off the map. But now Storm is losing eco here. There are attempts to put up torpedo defences of a slightly stronger nature, but they are no match for the Tempests, and the battleships have broken through the shields here. But they're more interested in the eco. Don't forget, Taiyo still has this chicken going, but for the meantime we had better check back up here, where the bombardment is really beginning to do damage, thanks to you. Haha, I keep on finding that amusing, even though I said I wouldn't make that joke. And the Bank of Arty, it's getting work done. Look, all this Arty has kills, but is it getting enough work done? I don't think so. Huge torpedo raid from Miser. Kills a battleship, but will it be enough? And that nuke was over here, and I think it's going for Taiyo's proxy. That nuke was from this little submarine right here. And is it going to get a nice lot of production? Yes. Yes it is. Look at all that going up in nuclear fire. Meanwhile, another beetle from Miser and the chicken we just mentioned from Taiyo are coming into Yu's base, and they are going to have a bit of a trouble stopping this. There are multiple megas actually from Yu and the monkey, and megas beat the chicken, but if the beetle can do the damage to the megas, but it's not. Not sure what it's doing, but what it's doing is not killing the mega. Or anything really. That beetle is about to die. And the megas focus the chicken, and all the chicken's going to do is continue bashing poor old Bourne and not actually hurt you, whose eco has seemed somehow invulnerable this game. Chicken is into the red as Yu's megas and monkey chase it down, and down it goes. Ooh. Meanwhile, Yu has started work on a Scathis here, so this is some early game ender shenanigans. I say early, what am I talking about? It's 52 minutes in. Just feels early given how much action has been going on. And Yu just has complete control of the southern pond. There is a fatty here from Storm. And it is going to do some damage, but battleships outrange Fatty, so he's gonna have to be careful about how he's using it. And I'm pretty sure the Tempest also outranges a Fatty, and there's gonna be some real naval bombardment pressure on Killzone and on Storm in this circumstance. I don't think it's going to end very well for them, at least in the short term. And as if that wasn't enough, look at this! Novak's pressure from Killzone in the back of Yu's base. He has 3 Novacies here, and they are hitting his power and mass hard. Multiple mass grids here, 2 PJs, 2 mixes, being taken out. And as a result, look at that, we have a 50% eco lead for the North team, despite the damage that's already been done to Storm's base. So that is pretty massive, well, as a result of that, and the fact that North team own half the southern landmass. But glossing over that for a second, still good work from Killzone. But Killzone has to watch out, because Bourne's Tempests are in the bay, taking out his mexes right here, and what can he do about it? In fact, they're going to take out the Novaxes. One of them goes down to the Tempest fire as we watch. And what can he do about this? I do not know. And look at this majestic amount of naughty, walkie, but these Salems are slow on land, and they have a problem, and that problem is in the form of 2 fat boys which are able to kite away from them, outranging them, and just bombard them as they advance. So I'm not sure that I think this Salem advance is going to get much done, thanks to those fatties, which are blocked from the battleship fire by these hills. Yu's land experimentals, meanwhile, in the south are now engaging Taiyo's army, and Taiyo doesn't really have enough of an army to take on even one of these experimentals. Mizer does have 3 monkeys, but like all the rest of his experimentals, they're all a bit spread out and not really coordinating. And more to the point, a Mega is easily a match for 2 monkeys. 2 monkeys and a Mega? Easily a match for 3 monkeys. And see, look, this monkey is just taking a free pounding. Oh, we suppose we do have a chicken coming in, but that's going to die to this Mega. And look at the target, and look at that damage. This monkey is just going to die essentially for free to these Megas from Yu. And trickling them in one at a time is not going to get any work done for poor old PMB. 2 of the monkeys down, and I'm pretty sure the 3rd one is going to follow, despite Taiyo's. Oh, but hold on, what's this? I see. Is he going for a double snipe there and there? I think he might be. Mizer's ASFs intercept this sniper, might save Taiyo, but despite his shield, boom! Killzone taken out by a Torp snipe, as Taiyo takes about half his damage to the other Torps, but he's going to be out of the water and safe still. Nice snipe from Yu, as the 1st of North team is ejected at almost an hour into the game. And as if the naval bombardment were not enough, the Scathis is now up and running. Although it's folding up and it's going for a bit of a drive. Nope, it's re-extending. Still 50% ahead in eco now, the North team though, possibly thanks to the amount of destruction that was wrought on Yu's grid here. But that Scathis could be a bit of a game changer. At the moment it looks like South team are on the back foot despite their control of the southern pond. But that Scathis could really change matters. And where's it targeting? It's not showing me. Well, it looks like it's targeting Taiyo. However, assisted Sarah Shields, and he is assisting it, assisted Sarah Shields are going to be hard for a single Scathis to break through. And it might, how much success is it going to have? I don't know. Okay, well I guess some, because it's, as I look and say, oh, it's not going to have any success, it smashes through and takes out this grid of eco belonging to Taiyo, and this shield hasn't come back up yet. If the next wave, there is a T3 arty here going up for Taiyo, which could cause some problems for the southern team if it survives. But where's that next Scathis wave? Here it comes. Ouch. That was a painful crush of all the build power here. And what can Taiyo really do about that? Well, I don't know, but that hurt. Still got the eco lead though. Nah, and what? Well, we have it. Okay, we got a nuke going out here, and it's going for the production. We got a strat snipe coming in here, and given what we've been seeing from Mizer before, I am certain that's going for the Scathis. But one thing at a time. And over here we have that submarine nuke, and that looks like a Billy nuke from somewhere. But let's watch this come in. Boom! What proxy base is my question to you? It's dead now. And there's that Billy from somewhere. Anyway, back to the action on the other side. And back to the strat snipes. Here come the strats. Here's the Scathis. But there are ASFs on hand from Cinsiggy and you, though the SAMs look like they're going to do the job. Is a single strat going to get its bomb off? I don't... Well, maybe one or two. That shield's taken a bit of damage. But that was another wasted strat snipe. Ow. And let's not forget that there's still this force of land experimenters here from you, which are... Okay, well now they're walking into range of these battleships, and that does seem like an unhealthy idea, if you ask me. Maybe he's trying to get control of the North Pond again, or at least get a foothold, but a big wave of gunships launches from the carrier here. Those two gunships, which are only Tech 2 on paper, are essentially Tech 2.5. They're the best T2 gunships there are. And this Mega, look how much damage is taken from them. Cinsiggy is trying to defend a little bit, but at what cost? I think that this, he will eventually work through here, but I think this, Mega is doomed to go down to the gunships. And so it does. However, the ASFs are still working on them, and so the gunships are going down slowly. Will they be able to get this monkey dealt with before they're taken out? It's going to be close. Oh, well, they don't need it. The battleship does it for them. We do have this chicken coming in, but that chicken coming in now would be a mistake. 2 chickens, and it is about a match for a Mega, maybe. But 2 Megas is a match for like 4 or 5 chickens. And so look, this chicken is barely even scratching the surface before it's been completely torn apart by the Megas. We've got another strat wave massing up here, which I'm going to bet is going to go yet again for the Scathis, and might just easily be stopped. What else have we got going on? Well, this base has been entirely wiped out by the naval bombardments. Oh, Storm is back here, and he's built the teleporter. So we better check on that, and just every now and then, and see whether he is going anywhere. But the Scathis fire is now raining down upon Cinsiggy's base. And if it can break through and take out the air grid, that would be a lovely pickup for the South team, who've had their own air player completely trashed by the monkey raids and chicken raids from Mizer and Taiyo, respectively. And the SMD might be a casualty here as well, but I just saw Storm blink out. He reappears here and launches the Billy. Well, the Billy is going straight for the Scathis, but immediately 2 Tempest fire on Storm and kill him in a fraction of a second. But the Billy hits and takes out the Scathis. What a noble suicide, possibly, from Storm. Meanwhile, Mizer is trying to hide in the water, but you knows he's there, and I do not think that he's going to get out of this. The first wave of torpedo bombers takes him down into the red, and it's coming back for another pass, and as if that weren't enough, we've got a whole other wave of torpedo bombers coming, smashing their way in, and a huge wave of missiles descends upon Mizer and Boom, he is down. He is out. And taking a brief overview, what a few minutes ago like a huge advantage for North team suddenly doesn't. Suddenly they're down to only their lowest rated player against basically you. The eco advantage is barely there anymore, and sure, Storm might have killed one Scathist, but there's another in the green nearly finished. So, this is a bit of an unfortunate turnaround for the North team. And it's gonna, if this is a comeback for the South team, it's gonna be a majestic one. But Taiyo does still have control over all this. He's building experimenters under the water here. He's got a little monkey there hiding. He's got all this control here. He's got Seraphim battleships which can build nukes and lob a big wave of nukes in here if he wants. He's definitely got the eco for it. But is he going to feel under too much pressure? Already, you and cinsiggy are in here getting the reclaim that used to belong to Storm's base, and the second Scathist, the new Scathist, is up, and so he's got one Scathist again now, and he's immediately started work on a second, as if this wasn't quite enough. And where's it firing? Huh, that only fired 3 shots. Before he ordered it to move? Yes, he's moving it somewhere. Interesting. Not very far though, by the looks of things. And you've got these megaliths over here, both damaged, but there is triple chicken pressure from Taiyo coming in, which certainly will be enough to take 1 damaged megalith. Is it going to be enough to take 2 damaged megaliths? Well, it is if they turn like this, because they can't fire backwards. And 1 goes down. So this could this be a last desperate effort from Taiyo? Down goes the mega. We have 3 chickens coming in. This could be huge, but meanwhile, at Scathist, look at that. The shots are just going straight for Taiyo's main base. He hasn't had a chance to fully rebuild since the last shot. He's building arse washers here, our experimental bombers. But looking at the situation, I think this triple chicken assault is his best hope. Like, can it get in here? Can it do the damage? Because if it can smash its way through the eco here, has he forgotten about this monkey here in the water? Because that monkey can come through here and deal it, while these chickens are the focus of South Team's attention, though that monkey could get a lot of damage done coming through the relatively undefended eco there, but I don't think he's got the APM to do it. I wouldn't in his situation. In fact, look, the air grid, it's completely idle, and he's overflowing 400 out of his 1700 mass. Like, burn nukes here, burn nukes in these battleships. Do something with it, but he just doesn't have, as the game's lowest rated player, and he's about my rating, so I know what this would feel like. He is having trouble handling the entire map and a half here on like 3.5 base, well 2.5 bases. This one's completely dead. 2.5 bases here, proxy base here. He's having trouble with it, but in come the chickens. And the chickens are getting in close. This is possibly the deepest that anyone has got into used territory since the start of the game, and one chicken is down, but there are still 2 of them up and running, or at least waddling. Chicken pecking their way towards the center of used base. 2 chickens down. Oh, no, don't stop the chicken. Move it, please. But it's stopped. It needs to get in here, and it is doing damage to use eco, to be fair. It is getting some work done, but he stopped it. And the Ion Storm isn't going to be in a good place. It's taking immense damage from the Ion Storms of its fellow poultry as it tries to get out and use T1 bomber defense, but there's a mega coming in, and down goes that chicken. So it did get some decent damage done. We must give it credit for that. And in fact, Taiyo does have the eco lead again, but he's not spending it, and his assault has petered out. And what can he do? Well, that's a new one. He's built one washer, which is somewhere, and he's working on a second. Where's the first washer? But also, he's under the several shields are holding up against the Scathis bombardment, so he's not under too much pressure there. Can't see the other washer. Oh, there it is. What it's doing there, I don't know, but it's there. But with those chickens dead, each play feels more like a desperation play than the last, and I do not know what he's going to do with those washers. Like, with 1.7k eco, a YOLO might not be a bad idea. Like, just throw down a YOLO here and fire nukes repeatedly into this area until the Scathis is dead. And forget about this, you don't care about this. Forget even about this, just put all your eco into a YOLO and blast the Scathis, blast the naval yards. YOLO here would be lovely, blast everything. That's what he needs to do, in my opinion. Tell me if you agree, of course, in the comments below.
Strategic launch detected.
We have a nuke out. Where's it from? It's from this nuke sub. Where's it going? I don't know. It can't reach much. It's presumably... Oh, here it is. It's going to take out what's left of the proxy base, where there's another attempt to build a chicken, but that chicken was in the green, and it's going to be stopped by a nuke. Boom. And the Scathis has broken through the shields here. One of the novices is down. But well, now it's targeting up here. And Mizer's old base has only Cyber shields to protect it, which, unless assisted really well, and I don't think Taiyo has the APM to assist them really well. Unless assisted really well, they're not going to hold up under concentrated Scathis fire. These fatties still actually doing work defending, although what have they actually defended? They're only shooting engineers, so I'm actually less impressed by that. And the shields go down around the air grid. Not that Taiyo was using it, to be honest. But the base that he inherited from Mizer is about to be wrecked. Boom. I was actually expecting that to go up in that wave, and I'm surprised it didn't. But we got a big crowd of broadswords coming in as... Is that Billy action? That feels like... Yeah, look, Cinsiggy's here, in the water. He's just brought himself forward. No teleport, he just brought himself forward with a Billy, and he's getting work done here as his broadswords come in to smash the novices and the point defense, and now the Scathis takes out this, this air grid, as do a couple of strats from you. And by these Scathis, I mean these Scathis plural. We have a second one up and running from you as of right now. And with these two combined, it's going to be a real problem for Taiyo to survive. Where's those washers? Well, here's one. And here are two more, so he has 3 washers. If he can get them synced up and just coming in right now on the Scathis, like hit here, he might have a chance. But other than that, I think he's out of it. These monkeys, he's remembered that they exist, but he's messing them up underwater. I can see why, but the problem is the longer he messes, the closer he comes to dying. And there's a GC coming in for Bourne here, so with 2 megas behind it from you, and 1 damaged chicken is not going to be enough to stop it. All 3 washers look like they're messing up together. Please use them, please use them. You need to use them now. But there's a wave of scouts out from you, and there's a ping. They've been seen. This could be a problem as the ASFs lock onto them. They're trying to come in a sneaky way, but he doesn't know they've been seen, and so this desperation play might not pay off if the ASFs get enough, and Yu splits them because he knows how much it takes to kill a washer. And so as they bank round, one washer takes a wave of fire and goes down, another washer takes a wave of fire and goes down, and that's it, because the other two groups of ASF can now chase down this washer. It's not even going to get the bomb off. That washer goes down, and now I think Taiyo is toast. All three arse washers die before getting their bombs off. What an unfortunate waste. And the pair of Scathies are now just systematically trashing each of these bases in turn. Look where Mizer was. This is... I would speed it up at this point, to be honest, because I'm not seeing... Oh no, the monkeys are the monkeys were coming out of the water, but they promptly head back in, as the megas have just been given to Bourne, and now he's got 2 GCs and 2 megas, and this will be easily enough to just walk in and push them away. 3 monkeys come out. There's also a fatty from cinsiggy. And the GCs are just going to smash their way through the monkeys, no questions asked. As if that wasn't enough, cinsiggy sends Protoss, and while I don't really want this cast to turn into, oh look, another terrible thing happens to Taiyo, who was doing so well, and now look what's happened, it is sort of turning into that, to be honest. He's built another washer, but what's he going to do with it? And now it is the South team who have the massive 1.5 or nearly 2 times eco lead. Now it is South team who are getting back the map control and beginning to make incursions into the enemy territory, as Yu sets up a little base here with Omni so we can see what's going on. So Taiyo absolutely on the back foot. Do we have an air? We saw Yu had some ASFs. He still hasn't got an air grid though. He's still only got this one thing, but 1 Novax from Taiyo. Not going to be enough to stop either of the Scathies, to be honest. And now they are just focusing on Taiyo's base. And it's just a question of how long it will take them to get through. Well, the monkeys just came out and died here that we saw earlier, and now the megas are advancing, and once they get into this pond... Okay, there's probably enough sub-hunters to stop them, but it's an expense that Taiyo can't afford. Though what's he spending it on? He never finished that quantum gateway. Is Taiyo spending his eco now that it's so much decreased? No, now he's overflowing 80%. 80% of the 1,000 eco he's overflowing. So I think we can agree that this is an amazing comeback by Yu and by South Team, and I am going to spare you a little bit of time. I am going to skip forward. Never done this in the cast before, and I really wanted to show you the immense naval fight, the glorious battles, and the glorious comeback from Yu, but I'm not going to make you sit through however many minutes of this guy being mercilessly bullied, and so here we are, 10 minutes into the future. Now, I would have edited in like the Doctor Who music and the time travel sequence and everything, but 1, I didn't want a copyright strike, and 2, I couldn't be bothered. So you're just going to have to live with me telling you that. Maybe I'll sing the Doctor Who theme, but I can't remember it. Something like that. Either way, there we go. Taiyo resigns an hour and 20 minutes into the game, and the South team win. What a crazy game. I loved it. After North team got the victory in the North Pond and started getting experimenters onto South team's landmass, I thought it was all over for South team, but somehow they made a comeback. How did they manage it? Tell me in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm the Commissar, and I will see you next time.